Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Time Out with Derek and Joe. As always, Joe Azalina. I am Derek Gano, and we are coming out with a short little video here we are finally at the World Series. Well, finally, it was actually pretty quick, but we're finally at the World Series, Joe. We have our two teams.
Yes, we do. We're really happy that this has come. It's always bittersweet, as I say, as a diehard baseball fan. If you want to watch baseball, and then at the end of or towards next week, we're gonna have a World Series champ. So, um, Derek, let's get right into it. Let's go.
Absolutely. So the both games ended up going 7. Now this was the first the championship series were the first games that were able to go 7 games. Before that it was 3, 5. And both went 7 and both were great series. Now starting in the ALCS, we had the Houston Astros taking on the Tampa Bay Rays out in San Diego, I believe, and no fans there still. However, there were a good decent amount of fans in the Arlington Stadium in the NL Championship Series. We'll get to that, but and how that may affect things going forward. But so the Rays, what a roller coaster it was, with the Rays coming out winning the first 3 games all within 3 runs or less, winning the first one 2-1 behind Blake Snell, 4-2 behind Charlie Morton, and then 5-2 in Game 3. The Rays won a good start by Ryan Yarborough, the lefty. And then the Astros bats got going a little bit. You may not see it too much, but in comparison to what they were putting out there, a 4-3 win in Game 4, a 4-3 win in Game 5, and a 7-4 win in Game 6, which brought us to Game 7. And Joe, another fantastic outing by Charlie Morton gets Tampa Bay to the World Series.
Charlie Morton is the winner go home pitcher. Win or lose, he's a big game pitcher. That's what I was trying to say. Charlie Morton used to pitch in Pittsburgh and Philadelphia for a year, and then Houston, and now he's in Tampa, and he just wins big games. He molded his delivery after the late Roy Halladay, and you can see striking resemblance from that, especially when he pitched in Philadelphia at that time. I'm going to say in the 2015-16 range. But Charlie Morton has that like heavy sinker, and he just commands his fastball, And yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I will not be shocked, as we'll go over the pitching matchup tonight and maybe tomorrow night, what we're feeling, what we could see. I don't know if we don't see Morton later on in the series, because he would be that pitcher. He would be the one to maybe prolong the series for Tampa. But like you, I don't really watch a lot of Tampa Rays baseball, so this team's foreign to me, Derek. But they deserve the accolades right now. They're the best team in the American League, and they've been it since probably midseason.
Yeah, 40-20. They finished the top, and you might have thought. No, I don't think either of us really thought the Blue Jays were going to give them much of a series, but the Yankees series was a great series, and this with Houston was another great series, and their pitching showed up once again. And like you said, Charlie Morton, over 10 innings of shutout ball. You can't ask for much more than that. Blake Snell pitched well. Glasnow was a little iffy, but they got some decent starts out of John Curtis. They got a decent start out of, and Ryan Yarborough, like I mentioned before, in games 3 and 4. Now, in the previous series, they've kind of been stacked in just game after game, day after day after day after day. There's finally some breathing room a little bit in terms of days off. So I did notice that you can go with a 3-pitcher rotation this time around on 3 days rest, provided every one of them goes 3 days rest. But the first starter can go 1-4-7, the second one 2-5, 3-6. We'll be interested to see how each team handles that. But yeah, it was definitely the pitching, and I guess we'll see if that can continue. I guess you could say probably the Yankees bats have been the best that the Rays have faced so far, but how does that compare to the Dodgers, do you think? And we're going to talk about the Dodgers in a bit.
Well, here's the thing I think about the Dodgers. If you look one through 7 at least, I don't know if each of those guys as a whole. You start off with Mookie Betts. Corey Seager has been on another planet. I mean, I think he hit 2 home runs, and definitely the the NLCS, and I think back to the NLDS he might have hit 2. He's been really good. Justin Turner's been another really good player. He hasn't really gotten hot, but really interesting. If Bellinger and Betts really, really start to hit home runs or drive in runs, I mean, listen, I'm not going to make a prediction early, but come on, they're down. There's no doubt how, and like you said, the Yankees had good bats. The Yankees had LeMahieu was a great hitter. Judge and Stanton were streaky. The Dodgers really aren't streaky. Maybe Betts will go 1 for 7 or 8, but then he makes great plays in the outfield. How many catches is that guy going to make? And Boston fan just got to be crying right now. But I mean, shout out to my Red Sox friends. But no, honestly, we're going to see probably a Dodgers team that's going to get started tonight, I would think, and make starter, as I'll spoil it for everybody that doesn't know, big right-hander Tyler Glasnow will be on the mound for Tampa. Listen, you get after him early. That's what you got to do if you're LA. You don't want to have the narrative going into 3 and 4 because tomorrow's another big game, but you got to get on top of the series. You just got to get started fast. I think if I was a Dodger fan and a Dodger player and coach right now.
So before we jump over to the NL, so obviously the Houston Astros went down in 7 games. Nobody really wanted them to be even that far for obvious reasons. And actually being under 500, you would say that wasn't a good finish to their season, but going that far, I would say they're pretty happy, but still you get there, you want to finish it off. And they really hit well in this series. You see Altuve hit 462 in the series. He pitched very well, or hit very well, but he did, and they mentioned it a couple of times, he did have a case of the yips at second base there, not being able to make the throws, the everyday throws. I mean, Brantley hit 346, and Correa cooled off a little bit. He did have 2 home runs, as did Springer, but I guess the big bats like Kyle Tucker and Alex Bregman never really got going, that we mentioned earlier. That may have been a key. And Yuli Gurriel never got going. He never got going all year. But and then the pitching staff, they've said it before, Framber Valdez is going to be a very good pitcher. If he's not going to...
Yeah, they know about him now.
We'll see where Verlander is next season, but he may be their star pitcher next year. But there's a lot of good young pitching. You saw Christian Javier and Urquidy, and now McCullers kind of was a little bit of a hothead, but so you don't know where they want to go with them, but they're going to be here going forward. Any thoughts on the Astros, Joe, before we move on?
Yeah, the one thing that jumps out at me is that George Springer and Michael Brantley are free agents, so one of them is probably going to find a new home, I was going to think. and I keep saying to myself that, and this is going to be really interesting to follow during the offseason, but I kind of think that Michael Brantley ends up in Atlanta because, man, they are going to need an outfielder too with the loss of Ozuna and Markakis. So that's something to follow. If Brantley ends up in Atlanta, that'd be interesting. Springer, he's going to have suitors. He's a good player, getting a little older, but still really good player. And I want to say that I thought Maldonado had a decent series. He would get some key hits at times, but not enough. Like, you know what they didn't do, Derek? They didn't timely hit. They would get
Yeah.
big hits or they would, hit home runs, and that's one thing that's going to be very important for the Rays. They got a timely hit this series, because if not, they might go home earlier than 6 or 7. But no, Houston just, I don't know. Paredes looks interesting. I think he'll be special. The good arm they got out of the bullpen, Enolia Paredes. Yeah, but Houston just, I don't know. I guess it just wasn't really their year. Maybe that hit them hard with the whole, now we got to play the right way. Like, they weren't allowed to use trash cans or have buzzers on. But no, we won't get into that. I literally think that these are the two best teams, and I kept hearing all season for the shortened season, right? Oh, it's going to be the Marlins. Oh, it's going to be the Reds. It's going to be a team out there that you don't even think about. No. We have the two best teams in baseball right now. And both organizations are really good at loading their farm system.
So we will jump over here to the NLCS real quick, and that was kind of more of a battle back and forth. I'll give out the scores first, and then I'll ask. But the Braves took game 1, 5-1. The Braves took game 2, 8-7, and then there are a couple blowouts. The Dodgers won game 3, 15-3. And then the Braves went ahead 3-1, winning 10-2. But the Dodgers pulled out the next 3 to win the series 7-3, 3-1, and 4-3. Obviously, the Braves started out 2-0. Where do you think it started to go wrong for the Braves and the Dodgers kind of took momentum? Was it just in general game 3 when they put out 15 runs, or?
Yeah, that hurts, right? That hurts a little bit. I mean, I don't like to make excuses for Atlanta because I don't like them, but I did root for them a lot. Listen, Mike Soroka was missing in action because he broke his leg. That's a big miss. He's the former Cy Young, as we talked about, right? Ian Anderson, Kyle Wright, those guys really did step up. But you use AJ Minter in a big game in the NLCS, Derek, and he couldn't throw the other night. Mm-hmm. Now, credit to him, what he did that first time out, he did great. He started, he did it, but look, it taxed him. It taxed him from being a starter to what he's used to in the situational lefty role, right? There was a big play, and I'm not going to credit myself for this. I did happen to watch a video earlier. There was a big play, and I think it was, I want to say game 6, the rundown play. Mm-hmm. They lost 2 outs on the one play. Again, is that where they lost the series? Maybe, but can we credit the National League champs? Because honestly, I don't know if there's a better lineup in the last 10 years. And maybe that's a bold statement. And if you don't like that statement, please email us, comment. Well, but no, I mean, honestly, am I crazy here?
I mean, I thought it was actually very early when the series started to move, the tide started to change and go to LA. The Braves shut them down in game 1. It almost made you think, oh boy, is the Dodgers bats going to be able to get going? They shut them down basically all of game 2 as well, but the Dodgers really got going in the last inning or 2 of game 2 and almost came back and won.
That was a big game.
That in turn seemed to give their bats a wake-up call. And obviously in game 3, they scored 15 runs. And then game 4, amazing showing from Bryce Wilson out of nowhere for the Braves. And
He's gonna be
and
good.
then again, yeah, and then game 7 or 5, they scored 7 runs, but I think the bats really got going, and I think that was the turning point. And the you said it, the depth of the Dodgers. Kike Hernandez coming
Oh,
in
another
to
name.
get the game winning home run.
He he's on the bench
Probably
half the
the
time.
10th the best player, best guy in the lineup. And
Arguable.
I think it game 2 there proved you can get to the bullpen, who has been dominating the entire postseason for the Braves, and unfortunately, the Braves are another team. They have plenty who have plenty to look ahead to. That young core, that amazing lineup. Hopefully, they bring back Ozuna. I'm sure Braves fans would love to see him back because he was great in the middle of that lineup. But Freeman, Albies, and Asuna, and Acuna, and it's
Goes on.
there's a
They're just
lot there.
ridiculous. Yeah. Max
But
Fried's also really good. I don't want to forget him. You're right. Game
yes,
one was all Max Fried, and then the bullpen kind of did a good job. It just shows you how important starting pitching is, though. I will say right now, they go get a Marcus Stroman. They just get another pitcher to help them out next year. I believe that they're going to sign somebody. I would keep my eye on Trevor Bauer too. That wouldn't shock me. And think about that: Trevor Bauer, Max Fried, Mike Soroka. Oh, I don't even Derek. Derek, I don't want to think about it, Derek. That would be
yeah.
unbelievable. But that's what Atlanta does. They pay people and they get the most out of them. So, you know, but
Now, in a way, so we have our World Series. It is between the Tampa Bay Rays, who were the number 1 team in the American League all season, 40-20 they finished, and then in the National League, it's the Los Angeles Dodgers, 43-17. I've seen a lot of people saying that they are similar teams who have gone about it different ways. And you can see that by, yeah, obviously the Dodgers have, quadruple the payroll that the Tampa Bay Rays do. But players, key players making key hits at the right time for the Rays. Mike Zunino, big home runs. And we haven't even talked about the ALCS MVP, Randy Arozarena, who kept it going again in the ALCS. And he could be a key for the Rays going forward.
I don't think there's a doubt in my mind. If that guy stays this hot, he will make it a tough series for LA. The thing is, I don't know if guys like Joey Wendell, um,
Mm.
Brousseau, who hasn't seen a lot of time, I know in the championship series, right? He hit the big home run off of Chapman. These role players, what about Austin Meadows, who wasn't a role player at one time? He used to be a starter.
Yeah.
Kevin Kiermaier is another name to watch out for, the outfielder. He's like the veteran statesman. But yeah, those guys, and keep your eye on also the starting pitching, because Blake Snell, Charlie Morton, Tyler Glass. Now I just named you 3 right there. Yarbrough, what would be, and Tampa's the team of the opener. That they will not be. I would not be shocked if a game 4 would come down to them resting a starter to go to an opener. And one of the arms out of the bullpen who I love watching is Diego Castillo. That guy throws fire. So
Yeah.
Tampa's fun to watch, but you're right. Arena, can he stay this hot? Like 20 hits in the postseason. Like, this is why we love baseball, though. I mean, if he does, the lowest payroll aside from the Marlins could hoist the trophy, and the Dodger fans are going to really be having some bad nights.
Yeah, and so we're just going to do a quick comparison here of each of the teams' position players, starting pitching in general, relief pitching in general, and maybe even coaching staff to determine who kind of has the um, who has the advantage in each position, and which may end up telling you where we may be going and who we think is going to take this series. Now, starting in left field, so the Dodgers kind of seem to platoon out in left field with AJ Pollock and Peterson, and then the Rays have Randy Arozarena playing out in left field. Who do you think has the advantage there?
Oh boy,
That's
that's a
tough.
tough one. I mean, Arena is like the way he's playing. I would say, give him the advantage. But I mean, John Peterson's been there and he's done it. I mean, he's had to take a back seat a little bit with the addition of Pollock and getting Mookie Betts. Listen, I'm gonna say Arena and the Rays on that one. I just think that he's too hot right now, and I think he continues to be half as hot. But yeah, I'd say Arena and the Rays get that one.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he's going to stay hot. I think he most likely will hit a home run tonight against Clayton Kershaw. We'll see if which Clayton Kershaw we get in Game 1. We're going to run
Yeah.
through the matchups we have pitching wise a little bit later, but center field. Bellinger has been out in center field for the most part all playoffs, and then the Rays, the great defender Kiermaier and Manuel Margot get some time out in center field. I would say it's Bellinger. He hasn't completely taken over hitting wise. He only hit 200 in the series. He did have 2 big home runs, but I would say Bellinger, Gold Glover. Kiermaier is another Gold Glover, great in the outfield though.
Listen, yeah, you can't downplay Kevin Kiermaier's outfield abilities, but let's be honest, Cody Bellinger is and will be for the next 10 years one of the best players in Major League Baseball. He's got a great bat. He can go to first base. He's won a Gold Glove there, actually. I think even not just, he's a lefty. If people don't know that, but that's what makes him so good. You can move him to first. You might see it this World Series. You move him to first. You DH him. They got outfielders, so it's interesting what they can do with the outfield too. But just so dangerous. And I look for him to have a big series. It's his first world. Well, no, it'd be his second World Series.
Yeah.
Derek's 23 years old.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a question. It's Bellinger running away.
Yeah. I think this one's pretty easy too. Right field is Mookie Betts for the Dodgers, and the Rays have a very struggling Austin Meadows out in right field, and then Margot also plays in right field. I think that's pretty simple. We can choose Betts and move on because.
Yeah. Do you think though? I'm right. I'm going Betts too, but just so I have this clear in my head, they don't have to start Meadows tonight. I mean, why don't you start Margot? Right?
It'll probably be Margot tonight.
I would think so. We don't have the lineups fans because we actually
started the show too early.
A little too early, right?
Yeah.
Game 1 though tonight, 8:00 on Fox.
Yeah, you'd have to think Margot would be the starter against the right-handed pitch or the left-handed pitching, and then Meadows against the left-handed, and then maybe Kiermaier sits down since he's another lefty. But yep, I think it's pretty safe to say we can go with Mookie Betts in right field.
Easy.
Third base, they throw out Justin Turner, whereas the Rays kind of again seem to makeshift and go either Diaz or Wendell at third base. Brousseau got some time in the last series, not so much this time around. He didn't really hit too well in the championship series, but I'd assume that's Turner as well, just based on the bat.
Listen, this is what's interesting. I've seen Wendell. I like his defense. His bat is a little light, but has Turner done a lot in the postseason now? He's one of those guys that maybe they get him to step up a little more. I'm going to go Wendell here. I'm gonna say that he gets his back going a little bit more. Yeah, I'm gonna go Wendell.
Yeah, and Yandy Diaz does play a little time at third base, I believe, and he hasn't really done too much in the series, but he splits time at first base as well, which we'll get to. Shortstop, that one might be an easy one. I know you like Willie Adames, but uh, Corey Seager really played lights out especially in the championship series.
His swing is kind of what you want your like kid to swing like he's just got that short swing, and it's pretty to watch. And I actually like him as like a player that kids might want to look up to. He's one of those guys. He's just a really hard nosed player. Seems to say the right things. Adames is a good infielder, but he doesn't have the bat. No, it's Seager. It's Seager. It's not close either.
Now, the Dodgers are the one with the makeshift second base. They seem to go between Kike Hernandez, Chris Taylor gets some time there, and then the Rays pretty much go with Brandon Lau, who was one of their best hitters during the season, but has really struggled in the postseason. I think Wendell gets some time there at second base as well. Where do you
Who do the
lean
Dodgers
there?
have there tonight? Well, who do the Dodgers have there
We
tonight? Is
don't
it
know.
Taylor?
We don't know. It would probably be
Oh, I
Taylor,
had.
would be my guess.
Oh, actually, you know what, Derek? I'll be able to tell you because I did see the Dodgers have. I did find it earlier. Hold on a second. My computer is not letting me look. Oh, there we go. It's Taylor.
Okay.
It's Taylor. Yep, and Peterson is in left actually,
And
which makes sense
which
because you
makes
don't want
sense against the righty.
Blasting. Right,
Yeah.
right, exactly. So, you're right though. Wow, listen, I watched the Rays 3 straight days when they played the Phils at the end of the season. I haven't been impressed with Brandon Lau, but you know what, Derek? I'm
Yeah.
not that impressed with Chris Taylor either. Can we say push here? Say first high?
I don't know if now Kike Hernandez has been a very good postseason player. And I
Yeah,
think that's strictly the reason why I would slightly push it towards the Dodgers. And I haven't liked what I've
yeah.
seen in Lau. And I don't know
Well,
if he'll
yeah.
get going against Kershaw tonight, the
It's
left-hander.
gonna be tough.
Lau is a
It'll
left.
be tough. No, it'll be sorry. It'll be tough for him tonight. I think the thing too is if you do what I said to do, maybe the Dodgers do it. Bellinger at first, figure out who to play center, and then you use Muncy at second. Talk about power in the
Mm-hmm.
infield. You could always see that against a tough righty. Now they might do that against Morton. I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be shocked to see that, or Bellinger DH, and you could do something like that. But either way, don't be sorry for the Dodgers because they have a lot of offense.
Now, you mentioned Muncy. For the most part, he plays first base. And the Rays kind of go between G-Man Choi,
Not that
the
guy.
left-hander who goes against the righties, and then Yandy Diaz is the right-hander. Again, I would probably have to say Muncy. He struck out a lot. I seem to remember during the this series with the Braves, but he did have quite a few RBIs, probably 5 or 6 or so. And um, I don't know that I know Choi hit pretty well. So
Advanced.
Choi hit 85, only 1 RBI, 1 home run, which was a solo home run. So, and Diaz didn't do much of anything. So again, I almost have to say the Dodgers.
Have you seen Choi play first base and the splits he does?
It, he's very fleet of foot over there. Yeah.
He's very limber. Yes. No, listen, Muncy 2 years in a row, 30 home runs. You kidding me? And nobody even I forget about him, Derek. Like I'm sitting there thinking Bellinger, Betts, Peterson, whatever else you want to throw out there, and you got a guy like Max Muncy who's done nothing but hit after he think Oakland was his team before LA. They gave up on him. So no, Max Muncy wins it. Although I do really like Choi's personality. He's cool to watch.
Now this may be something that's a push because neither now Will Smith for the Dodgers has hit well throughout the playoffs, but he didn't really do too much in this series. He did have actually 7 RBIs, but only a few hits. And Zanino had a couple home runs. Zunino is known to be more of a good pitch caller and calls a good game. But anyone really stand out there, or is that more of a push, do you think?
Also, Barnes catches tonight, as we talked about, right?
Yes.
Will Smith actually gets a DH tonight. Not that we're going to see that the whole series. Heck, we're going to see different lineups, probably different players used. Listen, I like Zunino, another free agent, by the way. And my Phillies might need him if JT walks.
Mm-hmm.
No, bottom line, I really believe Will Smith has a big series, and I gotta go Will Smith, whether he's DHing or catching. So I'm gonna say Smith because he probably does catch a little more.
Well, let's hope somewhere it turns around for the Rays here because we basically all went all Rays. Now, what do you think? We're not going to go individual. What do you think of the starting pitchers in general? Who has the advantage there for the Dodgers? You have Kershaw pitching game 1, and I know Buehler's going out in game 3.
Oh, he's 3.
Most like, yes, they said he's going to pitch game 3.
Oh,
now,
boy.
I would have to think that sets up Urias to pitch game 2 because he was lights out in that
or do
series.
you come back with May maybe and let him start 5 innings? I mean, that's a really good point. Listen, I did hear Gonsolin's not a starter. He's not starting unless they change it. They could change it. But I did hear that today. ESPN actually did say that. Wow, this is really tough.
Now, before I will say, so for the Rays, obviously we mentioned all the names, but Glass now is pitching game 1. Game 2 is, I believe, going to be Snell. And then Charlie Morton will probably pitch game 3. Now, you can potentially, with the days off, set it up so that you only have to use 3 starters, provided they go. Yeah, provided they go 3 days rest. So we'll see what.
But if you're the Dodgers, though, especially when they're not using their bullpen to start games, usually, I think you're right. We are seeing Kershaw tonight. If Kershaw pitches well, say he pitches 6 innings, you could bring him back for game 4, because then you said Buehler game 3. If it's not Urias tomorrow. If they're not off, right? They're not off tomorrow.
No.
They play 2 in a row? Right. So I would think it could be Dustin May. That would be my prediction. Just because you're throwing out a young kid, you got to figure out which young kid you want pretty much. Gonsolin might work out of the bullpen. But either way, all right. Then you got Snell. You got Morton. And Yarbrough too. And then you have Glass now. You can't say the Dodgers have the experience here. I mean, I know Kershaw does, but Morton does too, right? Glasnow and these other guys are young, in Urias and Buehler's young too, but Buehler's been there though. Yeah, he's young, but he's been in big games. I mean, wow, this is really tough. The only thing I'm gonna say is that I really believe that, and we said it how many times on this podcast, good pitching beats good hitting. Guess what? The Dodgers aren't just good hitting. They're great hitters. So I'm going to say Tampa might have a really good rotation, but it still might not matter. You know what? I'll give the edge to the Rays. I'll say the Rays by a little bit, but like this much.
Now, I think they're definitely going to go different directions. You can kind of see it with the way the Dodgers are lining themselves up. It's almost like they're lining up Buehler for game 3 and game 7. They're lining up Kershaw for 1 and 4 or 5 maybe. And then kind of makeshifting how they've kind of been the rest of the way between May, Urias, Gonsolin. I would be shocked if the Rays don't go full 3 days everywhere. Glass now games 1, 4, 7, Snell 2 and 5, and Morton 3 and 6. And I agree. I'm gonna slightly give it to the Rays strictly because I don't think we're gonna get the Kershaw that we saw in round 1. I don't think we're gonna get that. And I'm going to slightly give it to the Rays. Yes.
Tampa makes you work. right? They're good. They are good hitters. I'm not saying they always get hits, but they're a good hitting team. I also thought this is interesting. If you're Tampa and you win tonight, do you change it a little bit, right? And don't you want Snell to pitch a potential game 7 or Morton to pitch? So maybe we see one of those guys go out tomorrow night. What will shock me is if Yarbrough's the pitcher tomorrow night. Then you know something's up. Because then you know they're trying to do something. I'm kind of shocked.
I'm pretty sure Snell is locked in at number at the second game. They've said they're going to go with him in game 2.
And I wonder if they thought Buehler was going game 2. See, it's a lot of chess match with the managers, right? Yeah, this is going to be interesting.
But the way Morton is pitching, I almost would rather maybe Morton lining up with Buehler at this point.
And then you throw Snell tomorrow, you have it then. Buehler and Morton, game 3.
You have the advantage. So
1-1. You could have a 1-1 tie going in too, you know?
Real quick, where do you think with the relief pitchers, who has the advantage there?
All I've been hearing is Kenley Jansen isn't Kenley Jansen, right? Well, I'll tell you who pitches real well. Nick Anderson, John Curtis, Diego Castillo. I'm going Rays again because I just think that the Rays have gotten it done. Like the Dodgers, Derek, I don't know another pitcher out of their pen unless they use, like I said, Gonsolin.
Well, I know Joe Kelly's out there, and but I think he only got like 1 inning. Alex Woods pitching out, Pedro Baez. And
they're
then,
not good names.
The Dustin Mays, the Gonsolins probably out of the bullpen. No, and Trinan did not really pitch well. He had over a 6 ERA in this series, 4 runs. I think it's probably the Rays you give the advantage to again in the relief pitcher department. Well, we've come to it. It seems like we give the pitching, and we kind of thought pitching to the Rays, batting to the Dodgers. Ultimately, though, Joe, who is your World Series champion and who is your MVP?
Listen, I'm going to say it like I said it to a buddy of mine earlier because I love to talk sports no matter what time of day it is. And I will say that I said my heart says Tampa. Okay, my heart says Tampa, but my head says LA. And I don't know if I can't say it better than that. So Derek, what do they tell you? You got to go with your head. And I'm going with the Dodgers. And the Dodgers in 6.
Yeah, and you kind of said it when you said good pitching beats good hitting, but I don't know about great pitching or great hitting being stopped. And you look at the Braves pitching, who was on fire. Max Fried was pitching well, but Anderson was pitching very well. You got a great game out of Wright, and he got shelled. And the bullpen that seemed unbeatable showed some cracks. And I think it's going to be the same thing. I think eventually maybe the Rays win 2 of the first 3 or so, especially with how the matchups seem to line up. I wouldn't be shocked if Kershaw loses it tonight and then Snell maybe wins the next game. I wouldn't be shocked, but I think eventually the Dodgers bats are going to wear down, which is kind of seemed to be what happened in the Braves series. I think they're going to wear them down, the Rays, and that bullpen's been used a lot in these games. They've gone the length in the past couple. They went 5 against the Yankees. They went 7 against the Astros. I think they're going to get worn down a little bit by the Dodgers bats. And
that's a great point though, because I just thought of this. They're kind of, as our NFL fans are out there, we're going to be getting back to the NFL, but this point just came to me. The Dodgers are like an offensive line that grinds you and grinds you and grinds you, and the defense gets tired. And that's kind of what the Dodgers are. They're going to make you kind of in submission, right? So that was a good point by you. Do you have the Dodgers then?
I do. I do. I think it will probably end up going 7, but
All right.
I think I would I think the Rays are great at manufacturing runs. I think there will be a lot of
Bubble.
lower scoring 4-3, 5-4, 5-3 games. But give me the Dodgers in 7.
Okay. Okay.
I'm gonna say it's Bellinger. Um,
We have to
it
give
was
MVP.
definitely Seager last series, and Bellinger has not really showed up too much. He had a couple home runs. I think it's going to be Bellinger is going to be my MVP.
Well, I'm gonna go. I would love to go with Seager, but you're right. Usually, when you're that hot, you're gonna kind of cool off. How about we go Mookie Betts here? How about we go the guy
Mhm.
that brings it all together because of coming over from Boston? And what a great sign that was. And he plays great defense. But man, if he starts to hit, and I mean like lead off home runs and stuff to get you going, yeah, it's a wrap. It's
And
that beat
that would
LA chance
be
not gonna beat LA. It's gonna be we are LA.
the first championship for the Dodgers since 1988, I believe I saw. So a little
I was
shocking
5 years
that it's
old then.
been that long. Yeah. And well, there it is. And I hope for a great series. I'm sure plenty of you out there who will be watching. Feel free to jump down to the comments. Who do you think is going to win the World Series? Who do you think is going to be the MVP of the series? And then I guess we'll find out, and it will most likely not make our next taping. Well, it definitely won't. We'll be taping a new episode on Friday or Saturday, and so we'll be talking probably the following week, summing up the baseball season. But this was just a quick video we would throw out, although it ended up being about 45 minutes. But I hope everyone is interested enough to like and comment, and please feel free to share with your friends. Let us know. Let them know about Time Out with Derek and Joe. And Joe, any last words before we sign off?
No, just enjoy the World Series. It really should be a good matchup, and definitely know that yeah, like Derek said, we'll be coming to you probably with a football show on Friday or Saturday, and baseball hot stove will be in the near future, and we'll be looking to definitely keep doing more shows. So this isn't a one hit wonder. We're here to stay. We're enjoying ourselves, and we always really enjoy it, no matter if we're having a bad day, a good day, a so day. And we do appreciate our listeners, and we hope to get more. So please like and follow. And Derek, always a good time.
Absolutely. For Joe Azalina, I am Derek Gano. Thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to our podcast. Everyone take care, stay safe. God bless.